Good evening, everybody. Welcome back once more for Quarantine with Jonathan. It's the penultimate. See, I've forgotten how to talk. It's the penultimate episode of our little series because it's day 13 and my time in here is coming to an end. And in anticipation and celebration of that event, I've had a shave. So I've tidied myself up a bit. I was planning on keeping the beard going until the last day, so I could emerge out of the hotel like someone emerging from the wilderness, from a cave. A shocking sight to the onlookers on the street. But I decided a shave is what I needed today in order to boost my mood and feel a little bit better about myself and a little bit less a little bit less gross, for want of a better description. There's something about getting all beardy and bedraggled, and it sort of weighs my mood down a bit. And having a shave allowed me to wash off some of that quarantine blues that had been slowly accumulating on myself. I'm in fairly good spirits tonight, as you would imagine. It's about 7:30 in the evening here, and as far as I know, and I haven't had confirmation of this yet, but as far as I know, tomorrow at midnight I will be allowed out. So it's approaching 24 hours until release, which is very exciting indeed. Really can't wait to get out of here. I did my underpants washing last weekend, and I washed just enough to get me to day 15. Clean pair of pants to go home in. And for the American viewers, yes, I'm talking about underpants. Whenever I say pants, assume it's boxers I'm talking about, not trousers, because I'd have said trousers if I meant that. I have become Americanized in many ways, but calling trousers pants is something I've never bought into. So there you go. I haven't washed my trousers, incidentally. Brought 3 pairs, and I'm now on my 3rd pair, so I've staged those out as well. My water is almost all drunk. My fridge is depressingly empty. There's no more beer in there. I'm having a dry Thursday night. Didn't plan that quite as well. I was actually hoping for a delivery today, but it seems it might not get here in time for the evening, but that's okay. I will treat this as a little detox, yes. So I've almost finished all the water that they gave me. I had to ask for more halfway through, and I think I pretty much just got enough to get me through to Saturday morning. I've been using some of the water bottles as like hand weights while I do my exercise, so I'm going to drink those as well. And tomorrow will be a day of lasts, final things, the final time I have to take my temperature, send it to them, my final test, my PCR test in the morning. They're coming at, get this, they're coming at 7:40 a.m. 20 to 8 in the morning in a bus outside, and I have to just be ready at that point, and apparently I'll get a message and go down for the PCR test, and then be swabbed and then return back to the room. So I'll be up early tomorrow, and I was sort of hoping I could sort of sleep in later, past some of the last day unconscious, but no, I'll be up bright and early, do my last quarantine workout, have my last breakfast. I've been doing McDonald's breakfast most of the time just because the things they're giving me for breakfast, I can stomach the food at lunchtime, I can eat it at dinner time, although it makes me feel sad, but breakfast is the one meal where I wake up and I have to put something good into my body if I'm going to get through this day. McDonald's for me is that something good, little bagel with scrambled egg and bacon in it, and a hash brown, and a cup of coffee. That's the kind of breakfast I need to get through a day in here. And then after that I'll eat. I was disappointed today actually. Uber Eats has let me down. The delivery drivers of Taipei have let me down, it's fair to say. It was raining today, and apparently in Taipei when it rains, all the delivery drivers just don't go to work, which is weird, because you'd think if it was their job, then a little bit of rain, it's not like it's, sort of absolutely chucking it down and freezing cold and icy condition. I mean, it's just a bit of rain, it's about, I don't know, 18 degrees or something outside, and it's just a sort of light drizzle. You put your raincoat on, hop on your scooter, and get food to the man who's stuck in a hotel and needs food. This is what I was thinking anyway. Possibly also Chinese New Year, it's a holiday period. But I'm really surprised in a city like Taipei that, a lot of these restaurants now rely on the scooter delivery services to get their food out to people, and especially when it's raining and people don't want to necessarily go out to eat. And even in Magong in Penghu, which is a small place, they actually they have sorry, I just got a message pop up on my phone and I was thinking what it meant, and that's why I stopped talking. Even in Magong, which is a small town, the scooter, rain or shine or gale force winds, as is more often the case in Penghu, they will be working. And I always, give them a bit of an extra tip and things when it's bad weather. So I'm surprised in a big city like Taipei with millions of people that no one is delivering when it rains. Very odd. Because I wanted to order some donuts. I just had a hankering for donuts. I think it was my sister's fault. Rachel, she sent me a picture of her pancakes that she was having for breakfast, and I thought, I probably can't get good pancakes here, but I can get donuts. So I got on the Uber Eats app and found the Krispy Kreme donuts, selected 6 different donuts, spent about 10 minutes deciding which ones to go for, cup of coffee, boom, banged it in. And then they did a thing where they just kept putting my delivery time back by 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes it went back another 10 minutes and said, sorry, there's a delay, we're having trouble finding a driver. And then after about an hour they just cancelled it and were like, you ain't getting your donuts, sorry. So that was sad, because I built myself up for donuts today and then I didn't have any, and then the food for dinner wasn't very nice and there was no other option to get anything in, and then my fridge ran out of beer. And had this been halfway through quarantine, had this been day 8 or something, that might have been enough to tip me into a bit of a depression, into a right mood. But as it's day 13 and tomorrow's the last day, I think I can pretty much tolerate anything for a little bit longer. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it yesterday and I wasn't feeling it as it got closer, but today, now I can actually say tomorrow at midnight I'm out of here. I mean, I'll come back to the room, but I'm not forced to stay in here, which is the only, issue. I don't hate the room. There's nothing wrong with the room. Not being allowed to go out of it is the thing, which which gets to you. So, yes, well, I said the penultimate episode. Actually, I may end up doing one the day after release as a sort of epilogue to the series, covering how it feels to be out and how it feels to be free. I think it would be a bit strange if I just end it tomorrow saying like, oh, I'm out of here in a few hours, see you later. No, I think to complete it properly I should cover the release, so I'll probably do one more from home on Saturday night, so that will be the last of these. So this is not the penultimate one. We have another 2 after this. Next to last one. So I had written down a few things. I don't know where I put my notebook actually. I had written down a few things to talk about in, oh, there it is. Sort of conclusions, thoughts, sort of, I don't know. Tomorrow I'll probably be so excited to get out that I might forget to talk about some of these. So let me just have a quick look. What have I sort of, yeah. Now I'm nearly almost at the end. How am I thinking? How am I feeling about it all? What have I learned, if anything? What the goods and bads that's come out of being in here? The first thing I'd say, and I've been saying it throughout the whole time, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record here, but just on the off chance someone is watching this because they're going to go into quarantine or into a period of isolation or lockdown or something similar to what I'm doing, I will say straight off the bat that 2 weeks in isolation in a room like this is no picnic. Really isn't. It's an ordeal, and it's one I'm very glad I'm almost at the end of. I think it doesn't matter how sort of tough you are or how sort of stoic you think your outlook is on life, or sort of how strong you feel mentally. It will still affect you. It will still take a toll on you, and you should just be prepared for that if you're going to do something similar to what I've done. I don't know what else I could have done in order to prepare myself for it, because I don't think I was prepared for it. I think I went in believing it was going to be a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of a experience that I could blog about and sort of enjoy the otherworldliness of doing something that's completely different to what you usually do in your life. Like if you're going to go traveling, or if you're going to climb a mountain, or whatever you're doing, you have this, it's going to be really, really different to everything that you normally do, and you look forward to that sort of strangeness in a way. So I had this kind of feeling that it might be interesting and fun, and it's I hadn't really read much about other people's experiences. I hadn't really read sort of guides on the internet about what you should bring into the room with you, what things and how you should sort of prepare mentally. So I would definitely say do a bit of that if you're going to go into quarantine. Certain things that I didn't bring, or and I was lucky that I could get almost everything via Uber Eats into the room that I needed, but there's certain things, obviously I didn't bring enough pants. Also, I really regret not bringing an exercise mat, because being able to work out on the floor more would have been better. The floor's pretty hard. Little things like that. So think about it carefully if you're going to do 2 weeks. If you're going to do 1 week, it's not as important. You can get by with less, I think, but 2 weeks is, you're really living in the space. So what do you need to live? Luckily, I was very lucky that I was able to get Uber Eats, and also lucky that my wife Cheyenne was able to send the VR in. If you have a VR or something like that, bring it. Don't think I'm not going to bring things extra that I don't need because it's like room in my suitcase. And if you can get it in, if there's any way you can bring something like that in, I would say do it. A Kindle, obviously, for books, that kind of thing. I'm not going to turn this into a list of things you should bring into quarantine, but suffice to say, I didn't think about it enough, so that's something where I went wrong, and that could have been worse for me had I not been lucky in being able to get things delivered. Yeah, and that brings me on to just in general sort of the ideas I've been having about imprisonment and the way it's been making me think about other people's situations, because I hadn't really thought of imprisonment and prison as necessarily a particularly harsh punishment for criminals, say. I mean, you hear a lot about this, about people getting sent to prison. Victims and families and things are often not not impressed by the sentence length, and you hear people say things like he's going to get 10 years for this horrendous crime that he's committed, and he's only going to serve half of that and he'll be out after 5 years, and this and that. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about punishment fitting the crime and that kind of thing, because you don't know what you're talking about, but people do go to prison for sometimes for relatively minor things. They do end up